Hello students, welcome to another video in the Navigator series wherein we discuss the strategy related to civil services examination preparation. This time we have a video on choosing the right optional that is essential for our goal. Let us delve deeper and discuss what is important while considering what to choose for an optional. Now the choice of the right optional is the most important decision that you will make. This is because the kind of marks that it holds. Okay, the marks allocated to it is 500 on 1750 marks, that is out of the total mains exam. This means that close to 28 to 30% of our marks come from the optional, and this means that the optional must be chosen very wisely, and therefore the strategies related to be followed are to be very clear. The second thing is long-term commitment. As you know, unfortunately, we may have to go forward with multiple attempts of the exam. This may result into long drawn efforts being destroyed if we do not choose an optional wisely and we figure out, okay, let us change our optional to something else. So all your years of efforts will be lost in the subsequent attempts. This is why you must have a long-term commitment to your goal, right? Then thirdly, there is compensation for GS scores. With respect to multiple years, there will be some papers in the GS section which might have a low score, and your optional will come into play and it will provide you with a competitive edge when you score more than others. This will provide you with a competitive edge, right? Maybe you are scoring less in GS3. Suppose you are scoring in the range of 80 to 90 marks. That is where your optional will come into play and it will serve as a fallback option, right? So, while we are making the decision of choosing the optional, we might get influenced by a number of factors, maybe also by friends or relatives or someone who had been attempting the exam before as well. However, while our exam preparation is being influenced by the decisions of others, we should also make an informed choice. Like the Minister of External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar, has said that India is entitled to make her own choices, and so is the civil services aspirant. However, this aspirant must not be influenced by just the decisions of others. He should make an informed decision for himself. So what should we consider while choosing an optional? The number one thing is interest. The quote here says, intense interest in any subject is indispensable. That is, it is necessary to have if you are really going to excel in it, right? And this holds true for your civil services exam preparation as well. For example, if you are continuing with a subject that you dislike, that probably you do not have as much interest in, the chances are that you may not develop the right amount of curiosity for it. That is, whenever you will face difficult situations while understanding the deeper details, you might skip it altogether, right? This will result into long-term loss, right? So the number one thing is curiosity that comes with interest in the subject, right? Even if we take an example, we have art and culture that is mainly factual in nature. It is very important for your prelims part. However, a number of students despise that subject. Why? Because they do not have genuine interest in it. If they had those genuine interest, even art and culture can seem to be easy. Even when we come to the interview process, the detailed application form asks you about your hobbies and interests, right? The panel there wants to know what your interest is. That is where it wants to gauge your personality type, right? You must appear to be a person who has taken the choice of his own interest. This is why it is important to have interest in the optional that you choose. The second important thing while choosing an optional is the academic background that you have. Okay? A lot of us may think that having an academic background in a particular optional will increase our chances of success. However, this exam is competitive in nature. It is more competitive than an academic exam, right? So we must look at the statistics of the successful candidates in this exam. So if we divide the optional into 4 parts, say humanities, which includes literature of languages, science, engineering, which includes subjects like civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and medical science. Now, if you look at this column, so the academic background of the successful candidates, 60% of the successful candidates were from engineering background, right? and 25% were from humanities background, including the literature of languages. However, look at this column that says recommended candidates with respect to optional stream, which means that most of the candidates cleared with humanities optional, right? So 81% of people, even if they had engineering as an academic background, they would have selected humanities as a subject and they would have succeeded with it, right? This means there is a considerable cross-domain shift. There is a cross-domain shift in the optional that is chosen, which may not align with the academic background of the successful candidate. Okay. Now, with respect to the academic background in humanities, right? So there were 25% successful candidates with academic background in humanities. They may not have the choice to choose from engineering. They did not have a choice to choose from the science subjects, and they may not have the choice from medical as well. So this is the mass that would contribute to the 81% successful with humanities optional, right? Similarly, for the science subject, 9% had science as an academic background and the recommended candidates were 12%, right? And with respect to medical, 6% were there with the academic background and 3% were the ones who were recommended. Now, all of this data is also dependent upon how many people with these academic background have finally written mains, because some of them would also be unsuccessful, right? But this is just for your knowledge that academic background may also be changed. That is, it need not align with your academic background in the decision of making a choice for an optional. Now, what else to consider while choosing an optional? The aspect of syllabus size. You must be very sure of what is the content of the syllabus. Then you should be aware of the length, breadth and the range and depth of the syllabus. This means that you are aware of the syllabus in its entirety, right? It will help you to gauge how much of a preparation you need, right? The second thing which comes with syllabus size is also analyzing whether it has more of factual or conceptual content. Okay. This we can say that we must understand what is the nature of the subject, whether it will require more of factual things. So if you are good at memorizing things, then a factual subject could be your choice to go forward with. But if it is something conceptual that you're more interested in, then you can use it to choose as your optional and gain marks, right? Apart from this, you should also look at the PYQs. I would suggest that you go through the last 3 years PYQ. So what it will do, it will help you to analyze the difficulty level of the questions, right? For example, you will know whether these are easy questions, moderate questions or difficult questions. That is, you must know whether these questions look familiar to you, whether you are able to answer it or whether these questions seem alien to you, right? So try and answer it with your present knowledge itself, right? So this will tell you whether the subject is doable or not, right? These two aspects, syllabus size and PYQs, this must be made very sure note of, okay? Upon this, what you can do is devise a broad strategy. So devising this broad strategy will lead you to understand how much time would you need to completely internalize the syllabus and also practice the mock tests and the previous year questions, right? Then comes the question of time investment. Okay, so it is not just the reading and understanding of the optional subject that is needed while attempting this exam. It is also about making notes. It is about going through the PYQs. It is about writing tests and then improvising it. And all of this has to be revised multiple times. How many times? At least 6 to 7 times it should be revised, right? So you need time to do all of these things, which means that if we dedicate a timeline for reading and understanding the subject, how much time would you need? You should take a timeline of 4 to 5 months. And for all the other activities with respect to notes making, with respect to going through the PYQs and answering them, with respect to tests, with respect to improvising on it, you should be taking 8 months. Okay. So it has to be distributed in this timeline. If it is something that you cannot do within 4 to 5 months, that is the basic reading and understanding of the optional subject, then probably you should reconsider whether you should go ahead with this optional or not. Then the next important thing that you should consider is the overlap of your optional with the GS subjects, right? So GS subjects, main subjects particularly, they overlap with the prelims portion also, which is why if your performance in prelims is good, then you can expect that you would perform better in mains as well, okay? Along with that, there is continuous current affairs updation. GS mains also has a feature of writing answers. So this is a skill that you definitely have to develop while even attempting the exam for the GS subjects, right? So with respect to various streams like humanities, literature, science, engineering, medical science, you must consider what kind of overlap does these subjects have, okay? For example, if you consider humanities, there has to be continuous CA, that is current affairs updation, okay? Then answer writing skills, right? Also, it will overlap with your prelim syllabus, okay? So it makes the choice quite confidently in the humanities domain, right? With respect to literature, there is no current affairs updation required here, okay? Answer writing skills would be helpful, okay? And prelims, it won't help much. However, it will help in your essay paper, okay? You can quote the philosophy which is given in the literature of the languages. Also, it will help you with your ethics paper, right? With respect to science, engineering and medical science, all of these would not require much of current affairs updation. However, if we divide science, we have subjects like agriculture, botany, zoology, okay? These may require some amount of current affair updation. However, PCM, that is physics, chemistry and maths, they do not require current affairs updation, right? And same holds true for the engineering and the medical science optional subjects as well, right? However, a drawback here is there is no proper answer writing skills that you will develop. For example, if you're solving a problem in maths, then it is not with respect to the answer writing skills that you will practice in the GS subjects, right? So there is one drawback. Then there is no continuous current affairs updation. This is another drawback. However, the advantage here is that it will require a one-time effort. You do not need to put more effort in the subsequent attempts. That is, if you have prepared your static notes, then you can continuously rely on it in your subsequent attempts. So this is also one thing that you can consider while choosing your optional. Now, what else to consider while choosing your optional? The next important thing is success rate, okay? How much probability does the optional have in giving you a successful rank, right? So here there is a graph. This considers 3 years, 2020, 2021 and 2019, okay? So you can see the graph. It says that if we have humanities A subjects like anthropology, geography, history and philosophy, okay? So nearly 47% in 2019, 43.8% in 2020, 41.2% in 2021. These are the people who have been successful with this kind of an optional. Similarly, for engineering, we have 4.7% in 2019, 5.5% candidates successful in 2020 and 3.7% persons are successful in these respective exams, right? So it will help you to analyze what is the success rate of the optionals, right? Apart from this, because this would also be a data which is derived from the number of people taking an optional. So we should also look at how many people appeared with those optional as well. So I have included a list, which is a 2021 list of successful candidates who appeared in the mains and finally succeeded with that optional. So this can be used to gauge what kind of optional can you use and what is the success rate of that optional, okay? So for example, anthropology, 1159 people appeared and 90 people were recommended, okay? So 7.8% is the success rate of anthropology. Similarly, if we choose another optional, say geography, which is 1079 people have appeared. However, 66 have been recommended. This carries a success rate of 6.1%. Now, looking at the literature of languages, with respect to Mathili, we have 16.7% people who have succeeded with this optional, right? Apart from that, we have science optional like maths. We see here that 513 people had appeared with maths as an optional, and finally 50 people succeeded, making the percentage to 9.7%, right? So it is important that we look at this success rate upon choosing one of the optionals. We should look at these success rate as well, so that we know how much marks we may achieve and how much of it will contribute to us attaining the rank in the final exam. Another important thing to consider while choosing an optional are the reviews of successful candidates. Why? Because as the quote says, successful people follow successful patterns. Why? Because they will give you the strategies. They will give you the vision required and the necessary insights. They will give you these which will make the subject seem to be doable. Okay? Maybe there was some subject that you may have considered to be difficult and out of your domain to prepare. However, just listening to a topper talk, it may soon seem to be easier and doable. This would also play a role in choosing the optional, right? It can be toppers, it can be your mentors, it can be your teachers. Okay? So this will help you in having an informed decision. Now that we have seen all the factors that are responsible for choosing the right optional, we must evaluate our choices, right? We should evaluate our choices on the basis of interests, academic background, syllabus, previous year questions, time investment, overlap with the GS subjects, the success rate that each optional gives us, and also reviews by the toppers, right? What you can do is prepare a sheet, that is a SWOT sheet. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, right? So you should club these points into your boxes of the SWOT analysis, right? For example, say I am choosing maths optional. So I will prepare a SWOT sheet of maths. The strengths are, I may have engineering as a background, wherein I have read about M1, M2, and these include topics related to the subject as well. Okay. Another strength would be my nature is more analytical. So I would club it in the strength part. Okay. So what is the weakness? It may come in the form of answer writing. Okay. I would be, for most of my time for preparing maths, would be doing the solving of the questions which does not involve any kind of answer writing skills. This means that we have to go for point wise answer writing practice in GS subjects. So this will be a weakness which will have its place while preparing for maths. Okay. What are the opportunities? Because I have seen toppers score more than 300 and sometimes even more than 350. Okay. So this is an opportunity to score. Why? Because it will compensate for the low GS score. Maybe if I'm not very good with answer writing, I can compensate for it by scoring a very high marks in maths itself. Okay. What are the threats? So you could derive it from here itself, that time investment. Okay. So even if I prepare maths in 4 to 5 months, I have to be in continuously touch with it. That is, I have to practice maths again and again, because if I lose touch, then it will require the same time of effort and energy that I have given in the first place, right? So time investment is something which will threaten my preparation when I choose this optional. Okay. So what I want you to do is prepare those optional subject where you have an interest in. You must have genuine interest and you should consider all the factors and prepare a SWOT sheet for these optionals. Okay. Maybe based on your interest, you will have 3 to 4 optionals, then you can prepare these 3 to 4 SWOT sheet, and then you should also go for topper reviews to analyze what SWOT sheet also verifies for you, right? Now, having made the choice, you must remain cautious in the coming times. That is, you must remain interested within the optional. There must be a sense of curiosity when you have taken up the optional. That is, you should not go forward and leave or skip the contents of the subject. Okay. Apart from this, you should be comprehensive. You may decide that you are going to score 250 to 280 for this optional. Okay. then you should also demarcate the topics that will help you yield such kind of a marks, right? And therefore, this will lead to being confident about those topics. Right? Also, you should remain committed, right? Once you have chosen an optional, you should not go forward and delve into the thoughts of changing it in the mid-year itself. Okay? At least you should wait till your mains scores arrive. Right? Only then you should consider changing your optional. However, the commitment should be long term and it should last at least till a year. Okay? Also, you must have full confidence in your optional subject. That is, you must have faith in your optional subject that it is going to help you sail through the exam. Okay? You should not doubt your decision every now and then. So this was all for choosing the right optional and what are the things that we must consider while choosing an optional. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much.